The world of NCIS has always thrived on change. For more than 2 decades, the franchise has survived shocking exits, emotional goodbyes, surprise returns, and bold reinventions that many television universes could never survive. Yet somehow, every time fans fear the end may be near, the franchise finds a new direction, a new mystery, and a new generation of agents ready to carry the torch. Now, however, the entire NCIS universe appears to be standing at another major crossroads. With cast shakeups happening across multiple series, rumors swirling about behind-the-scenes negotiations, and growing speculation surrounding future spin-offs, longtime viewers are beginning to wonder whether the franchise is preparing for its biggest transformation yet. While CBS continues to celebrate the success of the iconic procedural brand, insiders and fans alike are noticing signs that major changes could already be underway. And if recent developments are any indication, the next era of NCIS may look very different from the one audiences have known for years. When NCIS first premiered in 2003, few expected it would become one of the most successful television franchises in history. What began as a military-focused procedural starring Mark Harmon as Leroy Jethro Gibbs slowly evolved into a global entertainment powerhouse. The original series became known for its unique blend of crime-solving, emotional storytelling, humor, and family-like chemistry among the team. Over time, viewers became deeply attached not only to Gibbs, but also to beloved characters like Tony DiNozzo, Ziva David, Abby Pseudo, Timothy McGee, Dr. Mallard, and countless others who helped shape the show's identity. But unlike many long-running dramas, NCIS never depended on one single formula forever. Characters left, new agents arrived, teams changed, leadership shifted, yet the franchise kept moving forward. That willingness to evolve eventually led to multiple spin-offs, including NCIS Los Angeles, NCIS New Orleans, NCIS Hawaii, and the upcoming international expansions that continue to expand the brand far beyond Washington, D.C. However, the latest wave of uncertainty feels different. This time, fans are not simply discussing one actor leaving a single show. Instead, conversations are growing louder about whether the entire franchise is entering a major restructuring period. One of the biggest reasons for the growing speculation is the ongoing pattern of cast exits across multiple NCIS productions. The franchise has certainly survived departures before. In fact, many of its most emotional moments came from saying goodbye to iconic characters. But recent changes have happened at such a rapid pace that viewers are beginning to question how much longer the current formula can continue unchanged. Mark Harmon's reduced involvement in the flagship series marked a turning point for many fans. Gibbs was not just the lead character. He was the emotional backbone of the original show. Even after his departure from full-time duties, the series attempted to maintain stability by focusing on ensemble storytelling and newer leadership dynamics. For some viewers, the transition worked. For others, it signaled the beginning of a completely different era. At the same time, several spin-offs have faced their own casting uncertainties. Some actors have reportedly been evaluating contract situations, while others may be preparing to pursue new creative opportunities outside the franchise. That uncertainty has created a growing sense that CBS may be preparing for strategic changes behind the scenes. Fans have especially noticed how newer characters are receiving increased attention, often accompanied by storylines that feel designed to establish future leads. In television history, that type of narrative focus frequently appears when networks are preparing for cast turnover or long-term franchise planning, and viewers are paying attention. For longtime fans, one of the most emotional aspects of the current situation is the possibility that several familiar faces could soon disappear from the franchise entirely. Many original viewers grew up alongside these characters. They watched relationships evolve, careers change, and emotional scars develop over years of storytelling. Losing one beloved character can already feel devastating. Losing multiple fan favorites within a short period creates an entirely different emotional response. Social media discussions have exploded with speculation about who may stay, who may leave, and which characters could potentially return to stabilize the franchise during this transitional period. Some fans believe CBS may attempt to bring back legacy characters for major crossover events. Others fear the franchise may slowly move away from its original identity in favor of younger casts and faster-paced storytelling. There are also growing debates about whether audiences still connect with procedural dramas the same way they once did. Streaming television has changed viewer habits dramatically. Serialized storytelling now dominates many platforms, while classic case-of-the-week structures face increasing pressure to evolve. The NCIS franchise has already begun experimenting with more serialized emotional arcs, deeper personal conflicts, and larger interconnected stories. But balancing those modern expectations while preserving the traditional NCIS tone remains a difficult challenge. That balancing act may ultimately determine the franchise's future. Perhaps the biggest source of excitement and anxiety comes from the increasing buzz surrounding potential new spin-offs. The NCIS universe has already proven that expansion can work when handled correctly. NCIS Los Angeles developed a passionate following through its action-heavy approach and strong ensemble cast. NCIS New Orleans brought a warmer, culturally rich atmosphere to the franchise, while NCIS Hawaii introduced a fresh island setting and new leadership dynamics. But now, rumors suggest the franchise may be considering another ambitious expansion strategy. Some industry observers believe CBS wants to continue building international versions of NCIS, capitalizing on the franchise's global popularity. Others suspect the network may explore limited series events centered around returning legacy characters. One especially popular fan theory involves a possible reunion project featuring former stars connected to unresolved storylines. Viewers continue to demand closure for several beloved characters whose stories ended ambiguously or too abruptly. In today's television environment, where revivals and nostalgia-driven projects regularly succeed, many believe CBS would be foolish not to revisit some of those emotional fan-favorite relationships. The success of nostalgia-focused television has changed the entertainment industry entirely. Audiences no longer see departures as permanent. Instead, they constantly hope for returns. That hope has fueled endless speculation about potential comeback appearances from former NCIS stars. Whenever franchise uncertainty grows, fan conversations almost immediately turn toward legacy characters. Could Tony and Ziva reunite again? Could Gibbs return for a major crisis? Could the franchise eventually stage a massive crossover event featuring multiple former agents? Nothing officially confirmed suggests such projects are happening right now. However, the entertainment industry increasingly depends on nostalgia, especially for long-running franchises with loyal audiences. Networks understand the emotional power of familiar faces. Even brief appearances from legacy characters can generate enormous ratings boosts, social media engagement, and renewed fan enthusiasm. That is why many analysts believe CBS may eventually lean heavily into reunion storytelling as the franchise navigates its current transitional phase. The emotional connection audiences still feel toward original-era characters remains one of NCIS's greatest strengths. At the same time, relying too heavily on nostalgia can become risky. A franchise cannot survive forever on memories alone. Eventually, newer characters must prove they can carry the emotional weight themselves, and that challenge may become increasingly important in the years ahead. As veteran actors potentially step away, newer cast members are finding themselves under enormous pressure to sustain the franchise's momentum. That is not an easy task. Joining a long-running series like NCIS means entering a world where audiences already have deeply established emotional attachments. Every new character is instantly compared to beloved predecessors. Every storyline is measured against iconic moments from earlier seasons. Some newer cast additions have earned strong fan support by bringing fresh energy and emotional complexity to the franchise. Others have struggled to fully connect with audiences resistant to major changes. This creates a difficult environment for actors trying to establish themselves within such a legendary television universe. They are not simply building characters. They are inheriting television history. And as rumors of further departures continue, those newer stars may soon become the central faces responsible for guiding the franchise into its next chapter. Whether fans fully embrace that transition remains uncertain. Another major factor influencing the future of the franchise is the changing television landscape itself. Traditional network procedurals once dominated weekly ratings. Today, however, streaming services have transformed how audiences consume entertainment. Younger viewers increasingly binge-watch serialized dramas instead of following long-running weekly procedurals. Competition for audience attention has become fiercer than ever. Even successful franchises like NCIS must adapt. CBS and Paramount understand that maintaining relevance now requires more than simply producing another season. The franchise must continuously evolve its storytelling approach, visual style, and emotional pacing to compete with modern streaming content. That pressure may partially explain why spin-off discussions continue gaining momentum. Spin-offs allow networks to experiment with new formats, while preserving the recognizable franchise identity audiences already trust. A darker spin-off, a shorter streaming-focused event series, an internationally based team, a character-driven limited drama. All of those possibilities could help the franchise reach newer audiences without abandoning longtime fans entirely. And insiders believe executives are actively exploring exactly those kinds of options. Despite all the speculation, one thing remains absolutely clear: the NCIS fanbase remains incredibly passionate. Some viewers welcome change, arguing that evolution is necessary for survival. They believe new characters, fresh settings, and different storytelling styles could revitalize the franchise for another decade. Others feel increasingly nostalgic for the earlier years and worry the franchise risks losing the emotional chemistry that made it special in the first place. These debates have become especially intense online, where fans regularly discuss casting rumors, storyline frustrations, and hopes for future crossovers. Some believe the franchise should end gracefully before losing its identity entirely. Others insist there is still enormous untapped potential left within the NCIS universe. Interestingly, both sides share one thing in common: deep emotional investment. People do not passionately argue about a franchise unless they genuinely care about it. And after more than 20 years, audiences still care deeply about NCIS. That loyalty may ultimately become the franchise's greatest advantage during this uncertain transition period. Behind the scenes, CBS executives likely face extremely complicated decisions about the future direction of the franchise. Long-running shows create unique business challenges. Veteran actors often negotiate higher salaries. Production costs increase over time. Audience demographics shift. Creative teams search for ways to keep stories feeling fresh. At the same time, successful franchises remain incredibly valuable assets for networks. NCIS still carries enormous brand recognition worldwide. It performs strongly in syndication, streaming, and international markets. That kind of franchise power is not easily replaced. As a result, CBS appears determined to keep the universe alive in some form, even if major restructuring becomes necessary. The real question is not whether NCIS will continue. The question is what form it will take moving forward. Will the flagship series continue evolving with new leadership? Will spin-offs become the primary focus? Could streaming-exclusive projects become more common? Or might the franchise eventually move towards shorter, interconnected event series rather than traditional 20-plus episode seasons? All of those possibilities remain on the table. One reason fans are increasingly convinced change is coming is because recent storytelling patterns already feel different. Episodes have become more emotionally serialized, character backstories receive greater focus. Team dynamics appear to be shifting more aggressively than before. Some viewers believe the writers are quietly laying groundwork for future transitions, long before official announcements arrive. Television franchises often prepare audiences emotionally before major changes occur. Small narrative adjustments slowly reshape viewer expectations over time. That may be exactly what is happening now within the NCIS universe. The franchise appears to be balancing two competing priorities simultaneously: preserving nostalgia while preparing for reinvention. That is an incredibly difficult balance to maintain. lean too heavily into nostalgia, and the franchise risks stagnation. Change too aggressively, and longtime fans may disconnect emotionally. Finding the perfect middle ground could determine whether NCIS thrives for another decade or slowly fades into television history. Despite the uncertainty, the continued passion surrounding NCIS proves something remarkable. Very few television franchises survive this long while maintaining such intense audience loyalty. The series succeeded because it was never only about solving crimes. At its core, NCIS has always been about found family. It explored loyalty, grief, trust, sacrifice, mentorship, and resilience through characters viewers came to love over many years. Even during periods of cast turnover, those emotional themes remained central to the franchise's identity. That emotional connection is why every casting rumor creates headlines. It is why every possible spin-off sparks debate, and it is why audiences continue caring so deeply about what happens next. The future of the franchise may look different, but its emotional legacy remains incredibly powerful. For now, CBS has not officially confirmed many of the larger rumors circulating about major spin-offs or additional cast exits. However, the growing speculation itself reflects how transitional this moment feels for the franchise. Fans sense change coming. The entertainment industry is evolving rapidly, and even legendary franchises must adapt to survive. Whether that adaptation leads to exciting reinvention or painful decline will depend on the choices made over the next few years. One thing is certain: the NCIS universe is not disappearing quietly. If anything, it appears ready to enter one of its most unpredictable chapters yet. New agents may rise, beloved characters may return, unexpected spin-offs could emerge, and longtime fans will almost certainly continue watching every twist unfold. Because after more than 20 years, NCIS is no longer just a television show. It is a television institution, and institutions rarely stop evolving.